Alright. Cool. Alright, welcome everybody. This is a round 6 match for the March Madness tournament on the Discord League for L5R. Today we have Demagogue versus Micha. Micha, Crane player. Probably playing some standard Crane stuff. I see Secret Void. That's a pretty good sign that it's going to be some normal Crane stuff. On the other side, we have Demagogue. Demagogue is playing, I believe, this is the Mitsu deck. This is the Mitsu deck in which he looks for Mitsu, and he looks to resolve a whole bunch of ring effects in one conflict. Multiple times. Using that new Stronghold, High House of Light. High House of Light, this is it's definitely a lot better than people gave it credit for. So a lot of people were like, oh my god, playing 5 cards is so much. But it turns out that, the effects that you get are pretty solid. Like the immunity part is really good, and then also just being able to put a fate on a character is pretty invaluable. Alright, so this turn we see Demagogue open with Empty Pass. So one of the big problems that this deck faces, I guess, is that it's very fate intensive, right? So a lot of times you want to be putting a lot of fate onto Mitsu so he stays around forever, but then you also have to play a bunch of attachments on him, like Way of the Dragon, that are kind of costly. And so Micha, recognizing this and going straight for the Mitsu, but it runs into Upholding Authority. Maybe slightly planned from Demagogue here. So we're going to see a fan come out, Katana come out on the challenger to sort of mitigate the effect of this Upholding Authority. Probably tells me that he has a second one here in his hand as well. Yeah, he does. There's one. So a new name, Bonsai, Court Games, Gunbai, Tessin, Katana, Policy Debate, and Voice have all been shown here. So, no actual way to honor himself other than just Court Gamesing. So what he can do here is he can put a new name on the challenger and then overlay it with Kageyu if he wants to get a political attack in this turn. Hopefully everybody can hear me right now. If you can't hear me, please let me know and I will fix. Alright, so Demagogue choosing to discard. Oh no, he discards Duelist Training. Demagogue discard Duelist Training from the Earth Ring. He chose to get rid of Voice. I think Voice is probably pretty smart. So yeah, we are going to see Micha go for this play here. He's going to put the new name down on the challenger. Here's Kageyu. Kageyu can go in for a political attack here. Go on fire. Hits Rebels, so that's going to bow him, and that'll be it for this conflict. Demagogue has not played anything yet, so it's possible that I guess he does have another conflict character, but most likely in this situation, after nothing has happened, he's probably just going to pass and then just take the fate advantage into next turn. So yeah, we are going to see a pass here. So favor obviously going to Micha because he was the only one who actually attacked or bought anything or did anything. Demagogue was very content to just do nothing there, and so he is going to move into the next turn though with 15 fate, which is a lot of dollar dues. Keeps the Yokuni. Yokuni definitely one of your targets that you want to keep around in the event that Mitsu does not make it out. Alright, so double Proving Ground here for Demagogue. One's going to go away at the end of the turn, but we did see the Duelist Training, so we are going to see a lot of Yokuni duels here. Yokuni, definitely a big boy with that 5 political stat. Gets honor, gets up to 8. That's a lot of dueling to be done on the political side. Alright, so 5 bids still coming out here. So one of the things that this Mitsu deck does do is it can pressure honor pretty well with all these duels, and obviously the Mitsu effect going off multiple times, so you can do multiple air rings and a lot of earth rings, and really, really pressure your opponent on the honor side. But for the time being, it looks like Demagogue is content to just go ahead and draw cards. He chooses to pass his conflict opportunity here, which is also interesting. So he's going to get the Brash Samurai's Honor the character ability, which is nice. So yeah, again, this deck doesn't actually need to break any provinces if it is going for these dishonor win conditions, right? He's going to sort of sit back and just wait until he builds up his massive guy. Alright, so here's a new name coming out on Yokuni now. So he is now Bushi Courtier Shugenja. Alright, we're going to see a void attack here from Micha. Kind of scary here. I would not be very confident in attacking void here. So one of the things that you do here is if you lose this conflict, you better be sure you're going to win this conflict, because otherwise you're going to give Demagogue a Keeper Initiate, and you're going to give him a Fate from the Void Ring. And so now we see, yeah, here's the double honor, and so this Mitsu sitting at, the Kuni sitting at 9. Policy debate going to come out now. So this is a bully duel. Demagogue's going to draw 2 cards from this, and now we see a bunch of cards in Micha's hand. So since we last saw him, he picked up another Katana, a Return the Offense, Story Defeat, another Voice, and Way of the Crane. So most likely Demagogue going to go ahead and steal this Voice. I think that's probably the most alluring option. Yeah, so there's the voice. That means it's 2 voices have already been discarded to upholding type effects. Now, I would imagine that in 13 cards, Demagogue definitely has another duel. I would expect to see maybe a return, probably a, whatchamacallit, a Return the Offense. Oh, another policy debate, okay. So Demagogue just going to go ahead and strip all the cards out of his hand now. I think now you go ahead and take, this is interesting. Policy debate is fine here too. Alright, so winning the conflict is Demagogue. He's going to get the Keeper and the Keeper Void Fate. Hope you guys are doing alright there in the chat. I don't know how many people are viewing right now. Doesn't seem like many. It is pretty early in the morning. People are working, but if you guys are working from home and you're not really working that much, feel free to go ahead and tune in. Alright, Demagogue actually going on the offense here, so he's going to attack in the Pilgrimage. That's not going to do anything. So this is just a little poke here with this this Keeper Initiate. Although, one thing to be wary of is that you can't really let this Keeper Initiate just be unblocked because of the fact that Dragon has stuff like Hurricane Punch, right? Or even just a Bonsai here puts you at threat of breaking. So yeah, we are going to see a defense from Kageyu here. Tessin will come out on the Samurai. Demagogue going to pass all the way through. It's just curious as to what Demagogue is his game plan is here. I guess he's just gonna die, or let a couple of these provinces break, and so now he's in a situation where, so that was a water province, right? So the left on his row is gonna be a void province, so that's shameful, and the other province is gonna be a fire province, which is Resto. So both of them are pretty bad for Micha to attack into. So one of the proving grounds is going to go away. Demagogue capitalizing on it while it was there. Got 2 cards out of it. And out come a Doomshugenja, Swordsmith, and Fable Ground. So not the best of flops right now for Demagogue while he has 16 Fate. He's probably looking for another Mitsu. So he is going to play the Doomshugenja here. The question is, I guess, is Demagogue going to pass on the Proving Ground? So that way he can use Season of War, maybe look for another Mitsu, but no, it looks like the way he's spending Fate right now, he's just going to go ahead and pass. There's no reason, I guess, to go ahead and Season of War and give your opponent another Fate. That's going to be a 2 Fate deficit for you. Meanwhile, for Micha, he's got this this Nutaru out. Shout out to Nutaru, finally a courtier. Interesting that we're using Nutaru here instead of Kuanon. Kuanon obviously is the sort of preferred body for Kyuden Kakita, just because he's, I guess, a little more well-rounded on the stats and has a more relevant ability for winning conflicts. This is a very conquest-driven type deck in Stronghold. Nutaru, obviously, her ability is all about honor, so we don't know if that's what Micha is necessarily going for here. And so one thing to consider, I guess, if you're thinking about using Hotaru, and you are a more conquest-driven deck, then maybe it might be better to go ahead and play the core Hotaru, right? Because she has a more relevant ability for actually winning conflicts, or rather rewarding you for winning conflicts. Hotaru, though, I guess is maybe potentially in here for playing against dishonor decks, because her reaction says after an opponent plays a card during a conflict where she's participating, you gain an honor. So it could be a way for you to offset a lot of honor loss, which is pretty good, right? Especially in matchups like Scorpion, where you're constantly losing honor, and that's the main way that you lose the game. Alright, so Micha going to attack at the Resto here. The question is, I guess, is Demagogue going to go ahead and not defend this? So one of the cool things about Dragon is that they can sort of survive on their box, I guess because of the virtue of Sacred Sanctuary being so insane for monks. Yokuni right now, however, is not a monk yet. So he would be the ideal target to be defending on the box, but right now the only monk that Demagogue has for Sacred Sanctuary is this Keeper Initiate. But it looks like he's going to go ahead and not defend this. Probably pretty smart, because this is going to be Micha discarding 9 cards. Alright, so... Oh, okay. So yeah, so Resto here, I forgot that this is a military attack, so Demagogue actually has to go ahead and play the Katana to make Micha break the Restoration Balance, and now he has to play all these other katanas here, sort of very inefficiently. Yeah, we're just gonna see him dump out a bunch of cards now. And what he can do, really, is if he wants to be cute about it, he can go ahead and move in someone to defend after Micha's played out all his cards to stop himself from breaking resto. And I'm thinking that might be what Demagogue does here. So a bunch of stuff has been played already now. No, it looks like Demagogue's gonna go ahead and pass. Alright, so here comes Okuni. Or, sorry. Micha's actually still playing out cards right now. I looked away for a second and I saw some of these, these cards being played out. This Otaru is pretty big. She is 11 and 10. Okuni, meanwhile, over here has less attachments and is 9 and 9. But still pretty big characters here. Demagogue hasn't done anything yet, really. So he attacked that pilgrimage once, but otherwise he sort of just rolled over and just not really doing too much of anything. So above question actually came on Yukuni here. That's interesting. So above question does prevent you from using stuff like bonsai and other pumps on yourself. So maybe something that Micha's trying to avoid here. This is a watering attack, so I think this Doomsday Genji is going to get bowed as a result of this. 4 cards are going to be discarded. Now, Demagogue having a 14-card lead, but the question is, what can he do with it? Does he have enough? So, Micha still has this political pump left, right? This political conflict left, rather. So 10, 14, 19. 19 stats total, which is kind of hard for Demagogue to defend. Hotaru does have this dual training, so she can actually duel one of these other defenders if Demagogue puts him in. Alright, so let's see what Demagogue does here. And this is a lot of cards, and he needs to use them eventually. He actually discarded away the dragon at some point. What was that, to Earth Ring? Yeah, it was. It was Earth Ring from last turn. Alright, so Demagogue right now, sitting on his action window, he has 11 Fate and 18 cards. He has not done much, but it's starting to get to the point where he has to make some moves. So he's opting to go fire here, poke fire. We already know this can't be Magistrate Station. We already saw Micha's RL card. A lot of indecision here. Looks like he's trying to figure out what rank to attack. Yeah, so going fire here doesn't really do anything. I think there's very low chance that you actually win this conflict. Alright, so it's upholding authority. So maybe you will actually get it off. I think the other option there was probably going air. Just grab the fate. I mean, it's not that you need the fate so much, but it's more that your opponent's sitting on 2. And that's not too much. So Micha's not going to defend here. Fire Ring doesn't matter too much for him. I mean, the Hotaru is just going to duelist training something and re-honor herself, so not a big deal at all. Alright, so there's the Seal of the Dragon coming out finally. Have we seen Micha's Splash? Okay, now we have. It's Let Go. No surprise. 3 cards remain. He's seen half his deck. He hadn't seen a Let Go earlier, so the chances of him having a second Let Go at this point are pretty low. With Hotaru at 8 skill, you don't have to worry about Yokuni getting duelist trained here. So we'll have to see, I guess, if Demagogue has another Seal of the Dragon. The big advantage, obviously, of having another seal is that he'll be able to get a counterattack in. But if he has it, I don't see why not just go ahead and play it here. Either Micha has the last Let Go, or another Let Go, or he doesn't. Hopefully, haven't seen any action in a while. I'm not sure if stream freeze. There we go. So no freeze. Hopefully this game didn't crash. That would be kind of unfortunate. All right. So yeah, above question. What? Okay. So this Yokuni is not impervious to every possible event from both players. Alright, Sacred Sanctuary is there. Demagogue did not have the second seal. So here's the Keeper Initiate coming in. Political attack with everybody is 16. Thanks to Hotaru getting unhonored. But Demagogue's actually just gonna only defend with Yokuni. So one possible reason to do that is Micha could have another policy debate. We already saw 1 get discarded, but he could have 2 or 3. A new name will come out on Yokuni. Okay. Hotaru gains an honor. Court games here on Hotaru. Dema is Keeper, so he might have a Defend Your Honor, but that kind of does nothing in this situation because Hotaru is just going to be honored anyway from Kyuden Kikita. Cloud the Mind comes out in Kageyu. Okay, that's smart. And a duelist training now on Yokuni. Yokuni is lower, and Micha does have honor to spare, so Yeah, Demagogue looks like he forgot about the duelist training, so that might actually be game right here. I don't think that Demagogue has any way to restand Yokuni in this situation, and I think he's just going to get broken on political. I don't think that this round is using the new RL yet, so the chances of him having Void Fist are pretty low, but also I think without some other kind of attachment, there's no way for him to to Void Fist out Hotaru, if that is something that he's running. Alright, so there's the duelist training for Yokuni. So, say Demo was going to have like 3 duelist trainings or something like that. So he plays all of them. He can bow Kagayu for -5. He can bow the Samurai for -4, but it still leaves Utaru at 10. Alright, so out comes court games now. We're going to see the Samurai get unhonored. Now all Demagogue really needs, I think the only way that he can win this is if he can find a way to get 2 more skill onto Yokuni here. Then he can duelist training Hotaru, and then he still has to deal with these 2 somehow. 14 cards in hand. What are they? There can't possibly be this few cards. Okay, so here comes the Desperation Hawk Tattoo. The Hawk Tattoo is going to come in when the Keeper. That'll let Demagogue take another action here. So it puts him at 1. So he uses the other action to High House of Light on the Keeper Initiate. So it can't be bowed, can't be policy debated if that's one of Micha's last 2 cards. Micha's going to pass here. I mean, there's not much he needs to do. Okay, Hurricane Punch coming on the Keeper Initiate. Okay. Let's see if Demagogue can make this Keeper Initiate big enough to bow Hotaru. Now, the favorable ground is also here if he wants to move into Swordsmith, too. Alright, there's a let go. So now we can bow Hotaru. Alright, duelist training time. Get to bow Hotaru. Ooh, actually, one way that he could potentially salvage this is if he does Way of the Dragon, on your Kuni, then that'll allow him to search for another attachment, and also... Wait. He didn't bid 5? That was a mistake. Okay. Yeah, so that was just a complete mistake there by Demagogue. I don't know why he bid 1. You know, in that situation, you had to win the duel, and you were ahead. You were at 10, and Hotaru's at 9, so you just bid 5, right? So you should have been able to bow Hotaru. I don't know what else was in Demagogue's hand. I guess I'm curious. So he's saying he had 2 let goes, and he just didn't use it on the duelist training. That's unfortunate. Yeah, so with the DOAH, I guess, like, you know, one thing that you probably want to do is, if you're going to play the seal, well, you have to pre-play the seal, right? And that's part of the problem. I was going to say you can play it in the conflict. Yeah, so just a really unnecessary risk there for Demagogue, opting to go ahead and not bid 5 on a duel that he needed to win the game. I guess on the thought that so he's saying he chose to gamble because he thought that his opponent knew that he couldn't risk to bid low, so there's no reason for him to bid less than 5. But I mean, that would matter more if you weren't also playing a card that sort of makes you not care about honor. So okay. Alright, well, that'll be it for this game. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you have tuned in at the tail end of this, it is over, but I will be posting the VOD up on YouTube at some point in time later today. But thanks, guys, for tuning in. And for those who wanted to know who won, your winner was Micha, the Crank player.